Wrestling Travel. They're a great sponsor for us. They help us with so many different events, so many different traveling inquiries. They are the greatest. They've been seen at Starrcade, Warrior Wrestling, you name it. Wrestling Travel is one of the premier traveling organizations for pro athletes such as ourselves.
Me do my two-step.
Good afternoon, here in the UK anyway, to Powered for SP3. I'm your host, John Scott, joined by the man himself, Mr. SP3, the A side of the cassette, the oracle of wrestling, the true heel he himself. He's here with us, 1 week removed, but we're back again, mate, and, different day, different time, but same old wrestling, there's always stuff to be covered. That's the one guaranteed. No matter what is going on in the world, there's always professional wrestling. How are you, Mr. SP3?
Well, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. We have another day in this wrestling world. I am glad to be here with you, John. I've missed you, missed being on camera with you. I miss the great people over at Powered4TV, the great community watching us live. Please put your comments in the live chat because this show is about you guys as much as it is about us. Like, share, and subscribe, of course. So I'm glad to be back on Powered4SP3. Glad to be back with you. And we are officially on the road to WrestleMania.
Is it official now? Is this the new official 3 weeks? It has to be 3 weeks. This is a very short road, I have to say. But after last time SP3, a few people thought, you know what, maybe SP3 was so horrified with the last True or False and the whole Nicholas business that he'll never come back again, that he could not, let that down, his guard after what happened with that. But I'm sure you'll make up for that this week. But talking of roads and the road to WrestleMania, my friend, let's start, shall we, with a road that I could have quite easily shut the lane in this one, mate. I'm telling you, but Fastlane, WWE, just coming off the heels of that on Sunday. For me, going into this, I've said this before, I did see it as being like one too many shows on the way to WrestleMania. I felt like, they wouldn't have much time on the other side of things to get these, WrestleMania level matches prepared and ready. And, but we went into it, and what did you make of the show? Because I've heard some good, I've heard some bad, and obviously everything in between.
It was definitely a good show.
Right.
Because it had two, I would say, WWE Match of the Year candidates in Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan in the main event. and Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, no holds barred. It was two different kind of matches. Like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre was more of the hard hitting, big spots, big moves, big moments type of matchup, with Drew getting the win, while Daniel Bryan and Roman was more of like a storytelling type of matchup mixed in with the grappling and the technical wrestling of Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan made for a different type of opponent for Roman Reigns than Jey Uso and Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre in the past couple of months. He gave him a different type of opponent, with the story being that he wanted to make Roman tap out. And I believe the ending helped that. And I believe when you said that, you know, there's too many pay-per-views between the Royal Rumble and now, I said, as long as they had a story that threaded throughout, they could make it entertaining. And that's what they did with the main event scene, with the Universal Championship title match, because now it seems that we are on the road to a triple threat instead of Edge versus Roman Reigns. And it feels like we have rewind the clock back 6 years, because a returning star comes back, wins the Royal Rumble, turns heel, and Daniel Bryan is about to be inserted into the main event of WrestleMania. You love to see it. I'm a longtime Daniel Bryan fan. He's in my top 2, probably number 1 all time, of my greatest of all time, in my opinion, my favorites, because I saw him from like starting in Hammerstein Ballroom to like now. So I'm happy to see it, but I know it's going to probably, you know, upset some fans. I don't know how other fans feel, but it seems like it's been a positive reaction to that. It seems like fans weren't feeling Edge versus Roman Reigns and that Daniel Bryan's insertion is necessary.
Yeah, I wonder why that was, because I've got to be honest with you. I love Daniel Bryan as much as you do. And it pays me to say it, SP3, that we're going to agree on something here, because I absolutely love Daniel Bryan. And, you know, if he's in the main event, all great to me. But the one particular match I really dislike is the triple threat. I just don't really enjoy triple threat matches. I don't know what it is, especially for the big titles, especially at WrestleMania. I prefer always that one-on-one. I don't know if this takes away from one of the guys, but it certainly does mix it up a little bit more. I think there's a little bit more uncertainty. I don't know where the odds lie at the moment, if there's a dead-on favorite or not, but I think it... I think it's quite even between all three of them. I really do. And I know some people will probably raise their eyebrows and think, ain't no way Daniel Bryan's winning. But do you know what? You just never know. I could easily see them doing that as the smoky mirrors to sort of get Roman and Edge without getting hurt too much going forward towards SummerSlam. So I don't know. It certainly makes it more interesting. What else from Fastlane did we take away? What about this business about Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon? That was there was some news coming out that this match was going to take place on Fastlane. I was like, yes. And I think I heard on your show, I think it was your show, where somebody on True Hill had said maybe they'll go with you know, Shane's guy from the old Raw Underground, and I thought, yeah, that sounds a bit more like it, maybe like a handicap match if, at least. But now it appears that Shane McMahon, he's almost become like the new Undertaker role at WrestleMania. It's fallen on Shane for some reason. What do you make of this? And why was that news getting leaked that was possibly going to happen at Fastlane instead of Mania?
Well, it was conflicting that it wasn't, because they first announced the match on Monday Night Raw, and then the following like couple of days, I think it was Wednesday, I talked about it on Wrestling Daily with Alex McCarthy, that they had removed it from WWE.com, because, you know, everybody knew when they announced it on Monday Night Raw that, yeah, we were probably going to get Shane and Braun again at WrestleMania. So this was just a way to kind of continue the storyline, and they were either going to find a way out of it, or it was going to set up the next match. And, you know, they removed it. So they was like, oh, they're just saving it for WrestleMania. And then they advertised it again on SmackDown. And then that's why it was being advertised after that. The whole angle they did was just ridiculous, with Shane being the MMA fighter that he is, getting injured and stuff, and then Elias being inserted in. It's like this storyline is kind of off the rails already. They had that bad segment where they said Shane was trying to be a bad guy by taking 28 minutes to do like a 10-word worded promo or something like that. I don't know what that segment was, but I don't want to see it. The segment that they did on the Go Home show was almost as bad, the talking segment, and then the match with Shane hitting him with the camera and then pouring not slime, Rick Ucchino of Sportskeeda Wrestling. He said it's ring lubricant. So Braun got lubed. Braun was lubed with slime, or whatever they call it, lubed with slime, and that set up the match for Fastlane, but that we didn't get the match. But now it is official for WrestleMania. So I don't really want to talk about that. What I really want to talk about, I talked about the
stipulation.
I talked about the great of Fastlane with the 2 match of the year candidates, Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. You know, they were my MVPs of Fastlane because they put their bodies on the line. You saw the scars, you saw the bruising and everything. They had big spots like the white noise from the crowd onto the announce table, the big explosion that was better than Revolution, throwing him into the Thunderdome screens. That was fun. Now let's talk about the ridiculous. Let's talk about Crispy Fiend. Crispy Fiend. I am admired. I am allured by Crispy Fiend. He looks like the ending of one of those Chucky movies, or like when I first tried to cook my sister's Barbie doll. Like, it's just man, it's just amazing how he went from this really cool look that we saw at SummerSlam 2019, where everybody's like, oh man, this whole Fiend, this Fiend look is awesome, it's cool. He doesn't look like a freaking circus clown, a rodeo clown. No, he looks cool. To Crispy Fiend. And now we have Crispy Fiend dropping Randy Orton on Monday Night Raw with the Sister Abigail pointing to the WrestleMania sign. And that is how we get our match at WrestleMania. The Fiend doesn't challenge. The Fiend doesn't do anything. The Fiend just points.
Exactly. Pointing. That's the way to go. Everything. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I don't know what to make of it, my friend. I really don't. I just when I saw it, I mean, it was obvious he was going to come back, but you know, again, I have to say, SP3, we've seen this match before at WrestleMania as well. I got to say, I found that match was terrible for me. I hated the whole stuff, the effects they did. I thought it was so hokey and stupid. Do you think they're probably gonna do more of that, aren't they? I mean, I'm kidding myself if they're not.
I mean, I'm hoping it's not in the ring. I'm hoping it's a cinematic match. I know there's going to be 25,000 fans there, but I don't think they don't mind watching the screen for a few minutes if it's going to be a better product, because I was there live at WrestleMania 33. I went with a group of my friends. It was like 9 or 10 of us. We were in a house before, and we were doing predictions on WrestleMania 33. This is before my podcast days. This is actually right before I started True Hill Heat. And we were doing predictions. And out of the 9 people in that house, 8 of them said Bray Wyatt was going to win. And I said, I'm putting on my Vince McMahon hat, and I think that Randy Orton is going to win. So although that match was trash, when Randy Orton got the victory, I was so happy because I was right. I was right.
He was happy. Well, a small consolation, I'm sure, to everyone. But yeah, I mean, do you know what? It just seems like, to be honest with you, speaking about WrestleMania of late, it seems like we've been because there's so much television, there's so many shows that I think WWE is starting to find it hard to, book matches that we haven't already seen. So that specialness of seeing something for the first time, I mean, it's very hard to get. I mean, there's not a lot of big, over guys that haven't already had something with one another. Now we are going back just 4 years to kind of recreate a lot of the same stuff. I mean, you said about Daniel Bryan earlier, it's almost the same story. It was the same match at Fastlane even. So yeah, it's sort of a little bit worrying in that end. I hope that's not a sign of things to come. However, I will make one allowance for WWE. And that is, I think that because it is only going to be 25,000 or somewhere around that mark of fans, I got a feeling they're going to I think they've got bigger plans for the next 2 years. I think they're holding back a little bit. I think this is going to be more about the spectacle rather than, putting on the greatest matches that they can possibly put in. So maybe, anyway, I don't know.
I think that they have done a great job of kind of setting up some really intriguing lower card type of matches. It depends on what you mean by the type of matches that we want to see, or like dream matches. I think if you're talking about on a casual fan way, yes, it's nostalgia that's going to bring them back because they haven't been watching. The last time they were probably watching was when Daniel Bryan was in the main event of WrestleMania 30, when Edge was on top as a main eventer. So putting these guys in the main event, saying which your biggest star, Roman Reigns, makes a whole lot of sense to me. Plus, there are two guys on the creative team, so I could totally see them pitching this in the creative meeting. So it makes sense to me. That one is good. The Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. These are two stars that are kind of like new, and you're presenting them on a big stage. So I think that is wise for, not your long-term future of the company, but for the next couple of years, like you said. I think that's the wise decision, because we're going to get a Lashley Lesnar match in the next couple of years when WrestleMania can really have fans. So that's going to be good. But I think that the real fault of WWE, the real indictment right now, is the whole Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair storyline. That's been a failure. It's been more about the tag team, more about the tag team titles, more about Reginald and their actual feud. And that's why we've seen an uproar on social media in the last couple of days with the whole hashtag main event Banks versus Belair, because people want to see more for them. This would be the first individuals of color going one-on-one in the main event of WrestleMania. That's why people know how big this is for professional wrestling, and that's why they want to see it in the main event. It's not because of the booking. The booking has made it it seems like the booking has been purposely bad to make it not feel like a main event of WrestleMania, because they had a layup and they are shooting a half-court shot. It's ridiculous.
No, I'm with you. What a massive shame as well, because that was getting a lot of traction. Even a lot of my sort of female friends that don't watch wrestling too much, they were quite into Bianca. Like, they were just taken in by her a bit. And then you got like the attitude of Sasha Banks, more from the sort of NXT days that I used to enjoy more. And I thought it was, I just thought it was going to all work perfectly, but I don't know. We get what we get. Just a little side note as we move on here that I forgot to mention before, but Peacock had some slight issues, I believe, with their first display of putting on Fastlane. I was hearing from a lot of my American friends that you couldn't rewind. It wasn't letting you go back during the live. And obviously you're bound to get these problems. Obviously, me coming from a streaming service, I know that to be a fact. However, I am surprised that somebody as big as Peacock could not have sort of supplied the sort of, I don't know, if anything, you don't want to lose things. You might not be able to gain anything more crossing over, but you don't want to take away some of the easy stuff that I think should be, most platforms have. Do you think this is something they'll get sorted before WrestleMania, or is this going to be a bit of a problem for WWE?
I think this is going to be a bit of a problem, but I am hopeful that they're going to fix it by WrestleMania. I mean, why I'm hopeful is because I got that email. In the yesterday. It said that your WWE Network subscription expires tomorrow. So I had to download Peacock on all my devices.
You got no option.
Yeah, I had no option. I was just forced. My hands are tied. I got the Peacock network, but the benefit of Peacock is that I finally got to see the Saved by the Bell revival, and it's pretty bad. I mean, there's some good in it, but it's pretty bad. But yeah, that was cool. But I'm gonna keep going on this ride because I'm ready to see how bad it is. I think I'm used to it by rewatching the Monday Night Wars. But as far as the Peacock network with like live pay-per-view, I feel bad for the people that can't be at their TVs in time for WrestleMania if they can't get this fixed, because that is a real issue. And especially for people that do like podcasts and reviews of stuff, like you need to rewind.
Yeah, how dare they?
Go back, like how dare they? And I looked at their supply of Monday Night Raw. They only have up to 2008. How am I supposed to do my Monday Night Wars? Like what?
I heard that, and not only us. Of course, the godfather of podcasts, Conrad Thompson, he was doing a show recently with Tony Schiavone, and they've been doing it back in the Jim Crockett days, and they haven't got it anymore. So they've had to. They were going to do it all year. Now they can't. They've got to do something else. So it's thrown everybody out. I think that side. Obviously, over here, we still got the network, thankfully. I can still watch some of the old archives. I'm still happy to go back and watch them more than the current stuff. But yes, I am hearing that that's going to be a bit of a problem. Maybe not until the summer that most of that stuff gets on, which is a bit of a real shame, I'm guessing. And yeah, 2008, I mean, that's a nightmare for you guys. I'll tell you what it reminds me of, SP3. It's like buying a pay-per-view when I was younger. Mate, we didn't have any of this rewind business. It was literally, if I needed the toilet, I'd have to wait for the match I felt best suited, where I could run, make a cup of tea, make a cup of coffee, and run back again. That's how things were. I guess we live in a time now where everything is very comfortable, easy watching at our fingertips. We can just literally click a button. But yeah, it's going back old school, mate. Now, speaking of WrestleMania, let's look at some of the card. I put some of the matches up here with I even supplied us with some graphics today, SP3, like, you know, no expense spared.
The moving renders like they got on social media?
No, but I'm going to be using them going forward. I saw some of them. I thought, oh, that looks interesting. I'll get some. But no, these are the still ones. So we're not at that level just yet. But look, we got Roman, Edge. We obviously think that's going to be a triple threat. We've spoke about that. What about this one here? This has been a bit of a. We know we're going to get to Charlotte. We might as well let's talk about Charlotte now. In fact, because you know if we talk about the card anyway, but obviously Charlotte Flair, she's out with COVID. That's been the big breaking news. Any more to add to this that we don't already know at the moment, SP3? And for those that don't, obviously. There was a lot of rumors why she's not there. She's come out, she's tweeted, obviously, with the whole situation with Andrade and all the rest of it. I think it's got people speculating there's more to it. But this is a major blow for me. I know you're not a massive Charlotte fan, but I am quite a big Charlotte fan. And I actually feel this is a bit of a blow for the card.
I mean, there's no denying that Charlotte Flair is a huge star. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a Charlotte Flair like super fan or anything like that, but I'm definitely a fan of Charlotte Flair's work. I've never denied that she is one of the greatest women's wrestlers in WWE history. There's no denying of that. You just look at her resume, you look at her like catalog of great matches, there's no denying. And her star power, like when you put her on a different stage, like an ESPN or on her award stage, you know, the fact that she has that name Flair makes her a star, period. But then you look at her and she has the it factor, she has the presence, she has that star feel. That's what makes her a star, you know, even without the last name. So that aside, this is a big blow to WrestleMania. I want to send my, thoughts and prayers to Charlotte that she has a speedy recovery, that she's not feeling a lot of the symptoms, right now. I know Andrade put on Twitter in response to her, making it public that she was out with COVID, that she had 3 more days and then she would, be in the recovery zone. So that's a good thing. I hope that they're happy together, with the whole Andrade news, which I'm sure we'll talk about as well. But yeah, I think that though, for hardcore wrestling fans, this is what I was talking about before with you when you were saying there wasn't matches that can draw like, fans. There are matches that can draw hardcore fans. And Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, they prove with their segment on Monday Night Raw that they can get the hardcore fans interested again, because instantly you put them in the same stratosphere together and people wanted to see this matchup. And just the simple, straightforward way they got to it, I thought it was superb. I thought that this was a great presentation of Rhea Ripley on her debut. It made her look like a star. It made her look like she had that aura to just come in and challenge for the main championship. I know there were people online that was like, oh, I wish that she earned her way there. But this is WWE, folks. This isn't your AEW. Yeah, this isn't your New Japan Pro Wrestling. We have to just, keep our expectations on what WWE gives us. And if the fact that they view Rhea Ripley as enough of a star to come in and challenge for the Raw Women's Championship, I think this is a better presentation than Shayna Baszler's debut a year ago, where she came in, she bit Becky Lynch's neck off. Then she had to go through elimination chamber. She beat 6 other people and then came out of it, and she looked like she was on her way to win at WrestleMania, and then she didn't. Regardless of how Rhea Ripley ends up, what the result is at WrestleMania, I think this is a better presentation of a debut. She was just confident. She came in. She had respect for the champion. She made her challenge. Her challenge got accepted. Now we're on our way to WrestleMania. It depends on what the next 2 weeks of build-up are going to be. I believe that she should have matches on the next 2 weeks to kind of make her look like a star. It should be like squash matches pretty much. She shouldn't take a lot of offense from the Lacey Evans Lacey Evans is out, from the Dana Brooke or Mandy Rose or Lana or Naomi's of the world. She needs to just come in, get out, look dominant, look like a star, and she will be ready for Asuka at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, surely for 3 weeks they can have her looking strong. I mean, come on, this can't be that hard to do. I would hate for her to, for them to do something ridiculous in that time, because it'd just be absolutely no need. But yeah, you might be right. I think it's a good replacement. I don't think we're getting anything less in terms of match quality, because I do think they're going to have some good chemistry. But yeah, I just think for Charlotte not being there, it's a little bit disappointing. But like you say, hope she gets well soon and recovers well. Let's go back to the WrestleMania card then, as we were saying. Let's have a look at what else. This is obviously, we've spoke about this. Just looking at that picture there, my goodness, what have we got? It feels like we're in some sort of horror film. I don't know what to say just looking at that. I mean, Randy Orton, he's somebody, I mean, he gets a real wide variety of opponents at WrestleMania. I mean, if you go back and have a look at his legacy on WrestleMania, it's all over the place, really is. Sometimes he's in the title picture, sometimes he's way down, and yeah, I mean, he's obviously got to be interested in doing this, because I don't think someone like Randy Orton, I don't think you could get him invested unless he was really interested. So there's obviously something there. I just hope, like you, my friend, that this is going to be a cinematic type of match, and not something out in the ring. I just think that's where it looks a bit hokey, and then the commentators start reacting differently to how they would the whole night. It's just very strange. So I hope, because let's not forget last year SP3 with that whole diabolical thing between Edge and Orton, which just went on forever and ever and ever. I'm hoping that this one might be a little bit more well coordinated, and yeah, let's hope so anyway, coming out. But here we go then. Bobby Lashley, he is going to WrestleMania obviously as the champion against Drew McIntyre. I like Bobby. I'm hoping that I hope he wins. I got to be honest. I'll throw it out there already. I hope he defends, and I know that a lot of people are speculating this is Drew's time to win in front of an audience, even though it'll only be 25,000, which I totally understand. But I don't know. Maybe hold off till SummerSlam. There's loads more time, I think. But I would love to see Bobby retain and get him on a bit of a roll, because the only problem for me, SB3, I guarantee you, if Bobby Lashley loses at WrestleMania, he's going to go straight back down. I'm telling you now, we will not see. We'll see him for a couple of months, and then he'll just be like anybody else. So I hope that he gets a more of a run to keep him up there for a lot longer after. But what about for you, my friend? Have you enjoyed what they've done with Lashley since becoming champion? Obviously, it's a long way since the whole Lana storyline.
Very true. Very true. Long way from Lashley's sisters as well.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Lashley feels red hot. He feels like the only guy outside of Roman Reigns that feels red hot in WWE right now. The feud with Drew McIntyre doesn't, because they haven't been really feuding directly. And I think that's why, we saw the uproar with people wanting Bianca and Sasha to main event night one instead of Drew and Lashley. But Drew and Lashley, because they have such a red hot character, because they have the best babyface in the company over the last 12 months, that's why they're going to main event WrestleMania night one. And I think they will deliver if they're given time. They're not given any shenanigans type of finish like they did at Backlash last year. I think that they will deliver a great match. We've seen it in Impact Wrestling, and it's crazy to think that a Impact Wrestling heavyweight championship matchup, main event match, is now going to be main eventing WrestleMania. But these guys have come such a long way from even that. Like, they have such new confidence in themselves. They are such new characters. They feel reborn. They feel rejuvenated. And I think they're going to deliver at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, like you say, there's just not enough time because of the whole Fastlane and everything else. There's just not been enough time. I really think that WWE did this off the cuff. There's no way anybody could have sat there with a pen and paper and booked backwards to do it like this, because I would have had Bobby so strong since Survivor Series. Not saying he needed the title.
He has been strong. He has been strong.
He's been strong, but he's been treated like a mid-carder for such a long time. It's hard to re-educate the audience, I feel.
I think ever since he won the United States Championship, he's been the most protected guy. I literally was talking about it for 6 months on True Hill Heat, that he's been the most protected guy on the roster because, Drew McIntyre was too busy, shooting whatever type of crap with Randy Orton back and forth, trading the WWE Championship, losing at Survivor Series. He's been the most protected guy on Monday Night Raw. He's felt bigger than the mid-card title that he held, and that's why when he dropped it, he didn't drop it. He didn't even get pinned. He's probably been the most protected guy in WWE, period, because he has a stable. He doesn't use them. He wins his matches on his own. He wins his matches very dominantly. And Roman Reigns, on the other hand, who's probably the next most protected guy, needs Jey Uso or, someone else to help him win. So he's been more protected than even Roman Reigns. He's looked more dominant than even Roman Reigns. I think that is false to say. I think that the one thing I do agree with, I agree that Bobby Lashley should win at WrestleMania, should keep looking dominant here. I think that Drew McIntyre can have this moment later on down the line, and that would be cool. But I think that Bobby Lashley's time is now, and he's looking very dominant, and he feels red hot.
Yeah, I guess I haven't been watching it as much as you there, SP3. I'll take that back. If he's been, I'm just thinking of the Raw Underground stuff and God knows what else.
He looked dominant there. He was the best part of Raw Underground. He was choking people out.
I don't know. I didn't like any of that, but I'm glad finally Bobby is back where he kind of left the WWE. He was on top. He was, heading for big heights. And unfortunately, when they brought him back, they really didn't do a lot with him. And I think that's still very much in my subconscious for some reason. But in any case, this is the one you're talking about, night one, of course. And I would love to see this main event. I don't see any reason why it can't and it shouldn't. Because given last year, I remember the 2 nights, they were finished in 2 minutes. So it's not like, why not? If you've got 2 nights anyway, why not have one female and one male? And not just because of that either. I don't want to be one of those people that, you have to even it out, and all the rest of it. I actually think that, they've dropped the ball with a feud, but I think this match can deliver just bell to bell. I think they can pull this off. As long as they're given a decent amount of time, which they probably will be now because there's 2 nights, so they're not rushing through everything. I think this definitely deserves to go on last and see it out. I mean, I just don't see the big. To be honest with you, whether you call it the main event now anyway is who knows, because they're all over the place half the time. It depends what way you look at it, but I'm sure money wise it doesn't work out like that anyway. But what about for you? Do you think it has to be a dead cert? Are you going to be very disappointed with the rest of the fans that I'm sure will harp on Twitter afterwards, cancel Peacock and all the rest of it, if it doesn't? Or are you just take it or leave it?
I love when that happens, actually. I love when it happens. I love when wrestling fans complain about stuff that they can't control. I just love it. I just love it. I find it humorous. It's in our rights as fans to complain on social media. So I love it and I embrace it. It is what it is to me. So
you started something there.
I expect it afterwards. I expect some fans in the building to boo Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre main eventing that show. I think that Sasha and Bianca will open night 1, and I think that's a great position for them as well. I think that Sasha Banks coming out and with the SmackDown Women's Championship to kick off the show would be a great moment for how important she's been for the WWE during the pandemic era as one of their MVPs with Bayley, with Drew McIntyre, with Roman Reigns. Like these are like the 4 pillars of the WWE over the last 12 months that has been since they had fans in the building. So her kicking off the show would be a great moment. Bianca Belair coming out and, as a future star of the company, as someone they're presenting as this is a person that will main event a WrestleMania in the future. That would be a great moment as well as the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble this year. So either or, I think that would be great. As long as they get the time, 15, 20 minutes, I think they're going to deliver a show stealer and something that we will remember, months down the line as one of the matches of the night. So I think that they will be in a good position regardless, but I know they're going to be fans that are going to be disappointed, and I expect it and I embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you got to expect it. That's the great thing with WrestleMania, because I can't say I've got the buzz just yet for WrestleMania, but I guarantee you 3 days out, I'll start getting it, because you get that nostalgia. They play all the old clips and you're just sucked in and everybody loves it. And then it happens. And then it's like, it was terrible. It happens every year. I've seen it so many times. So you just come to expect it. Now here I go with the last 2 that have been confirmed. It's almost like pick your poison here, because these are the least 2 favorites that I've seen. However, I did message you about this and you put my mind at rest. But here we go. Bad Bunny, the merch juggernaut that has become WWE, should have just his own place in the shop, really, shouldn't he? Up against The Miz. I suppose this is your sort of curious fan from outside. Maybe they come in and watch this guy do his stuff. Got no problem with that, because I don't expect this will be too far up the card. But are they going to make this into a tag match like we all thought it was? Or are they actually going to take a gamble and go one-on-one?
Well, the report was that, I think it was Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer, that I think like 10 days ago, a week ago, that Vince McMahon came in and he was like, ripped up all the plans to WrestleMania, and he said that it needs to be bigger. We need to get bigger. Yeah, so he ripped up Edge versus Roman. We're getting Edge versus Roman versus Daniel Bryan. He ripped up any ideas, I guess, of like Sheamus being in the title picture. I don't know what the original plans were. Who knows? But that was the report. He ripped up the plans and he wanted to be bigger. And one of the plans was Damian Priest and Bad Bunny versus The Miz and John Morrison. So the way to make it bigger is two stars, 2 celebrities. You got your C or D-list celebrity, your former reality show star, your current reality show star, if people on the USA Network can be considered reality show stars. Mike The Miz Mizanin in one corner. And then In the other corner, you got your A-list star. You got your winner of the best Latin album on this year's Grammys, the 2020 Spotify Artist of the Year, #1 recording artist, and former, musical guest on Saturday Night Live, holding WWE Gold, might I add, Bad Bunny. That's star power. Is like okay, yeah, it would have been nice for Bad Bunny's star power to rub off on Damian Priest. Damian Priest be in the match and him wrestle most of the match, to protect Bad Bunny. Yeah, that would have been nice. But it's all about the star power and the name value. And Damian Priest, no one knows Damian Priest. He'll get the rub being in Bad Bunny's corner. Don't worry. We'll do all these training montages of him getting Bad Bunny ready. That will get him over, sure. And John Morrison, yeah, he's not a star. What reality show was he on? Tough Enough? Who watched Tough Enough? The real world star, the MTV star, the former challenge winner, The Miz versus Bad Bunny. That's star power, and that's bigger.
Mate, I think you should become his advocate. You sound like a fan of Bad Bunny, like I'm a fan of Johnny Nye from Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, the rock star. I have told him I'm his fan, but you sound like you are going to go all out for Bad Bunny. I tell you what, are we going to be surprised? Are people going to go, oh my goodness, Bad Bunny has got the moves? I mean, let's put it this way. I've not heard anything. Has he been training? Is there an old wrestler out there, brought him into a school? I don't care, Spanky, Brian Kendrick, whoever. Has somebody taken him under their wing for this? Or is this just going to be, no, I don't know, a cluster?
He's at the star maker. He's at the producer of Superstars. The place where Charlotte Flair became the queen. The place where Roman Reigns became the big dog. The place where Seth Rollins became the architect. He spent 10 years on the independents, but yeah, he came there. He spent like a month or two there. But yeah, him too. And all the stars of NXT. Yeah, he is at the WWE Performance Center becoming a superstar. They are molding him. He is with Shawn Michaels, learning facial expressions and how to sell like a pro. He is learning from William Regal how to grind him out, how to grapple, how to technical wrestle. He is with Robbie whatever side. Yeah, Brookside. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so fired up for Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is becoming a star, and he is learning from the greatest of all time. He's with Triple H. He's sitting in the boardroom. He's doing tape studies, becoming a student.
I learned a lot from him.
Yes, he's learning everything at the Performance Center. Bad Bunny.
I'll tell you what, he won't be learning at the Performance Center. Leg slapping. He won't be learning that one. He'll have to figure out something else. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's all I can take of Bad Bunny, I'm afraid. Braun Strowman up against Shane freaking McMahon. Again, Mr. Stuntman is back. No, I love Shane, but I just think one WrestleMania against The Undertaker, that was enough. He gets AJ Styles. I mean, this guy is getting massive opponents at WrestleMania. Now he's got the biggest. He's got Braun Strowman. Why? I don't know. Couldn't we come up with something better for both of them to be doing? I mean, quite honestly, I don't have a lot of faith with Braun these days anyway. I think he's becoming where the Big Show, he's starting to go into that mold now where he's just the happy guy that comes out. If he's not happy, he's stupid. That's how they treat him. I can't believe what a terrible job they've done with him. I've heard this guy speaking on podcasts. He's pretty decent when he's just talking normal. I would have him talking like that all the time, but they don't. Instead, they have him trying to memorize lines that he's got clueless how to do. Because guess what? He's not an actor. He's a wrestler. But in any case, poor old Braun, he now gets Shane McMahon. Is this just going to be a stuntman match again? Something to jump off of?
Yeah, it's going to be a stunt match.
Right.
And the one thing I was confused on what you said was that Braun was starting to become the Big Show. He's been
yeah.
a Big Show for about
that was wishful thinking.
3 years now. Like he had that part where he turned heel for a bit when he was teaming up with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler against the Shield. Then he turned back babyface before WrestleMania. Then he was a heel again. Then he had the whole thing with the Fiend. He won the Universal title, but it was in a nothing match against Goldberg that nobody remembers or wants to remember. Yeah, like Braun Strowman, they have Big Showed me out, and that's why I am like I'm not into anything that Braun Strowman does. I thought that Braun Strowman was one of the hottest characters in the WWE in 2017.
Me too.
WrestleMania 33 when he feuded with Roman Reigns. He felt like the biggest star, the next big baby face, and they have completely ruined him over the last 3 years. So I'm not surprised. I think that the match with Shane will be entertaining in its own way, but it all depends on the finish. If Braun wins, I think, yeah, people will look at it and think of it as a positive. If it's a stunt show, if we got a bunch of big spots, Shane's flying off of something, yeah, sure, they'll love it. But if Shane wins, then people are going to hate it, and they're going to try to not remember it like they did with the Miz match at WrestleMania 35.
I don't get the whole thing with Shane, because Vince McMahon, his dad, was very much the opposite mindset. He didn't like getting in there too much because he didn't like hurting the wrestlers. So he was, when you saw Vince in a ring, he performed like a guy who shouldn't be in the ring more times than not. Even against Hogan, he pulled it off quite well. Yeah. But when I see Shane getting in more shots than other people, like against The Undertaker and stuff like that, I'm starting to scratch my head thinking, this something wrong here. Like, why have they put so much in this guy? But I don't know. What can you say? He's in it again. Another stuntman. Where do we go? Anyway, guys, look, we've been chatting about WrestleMania for a while. We're going to quickly now take a break. I think after all that excitement, I need to calm down. Otherwise, I'm going to be too excited for WrestleMania, and we are 3 weeks out still around then. But coming up, just a short break now. A little clip here from this Sunday coming on Facebook Live on Powered4SP3 Facebook at 3 p.m. We will be shipping out a free match from 1PW. Here is a little preview of that match.
Johnny Storm, Jody Flash, the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, the phenomenal AJ Styles. See, I don't know if you guys know this, but as individuals, we've held more titles than you guys will ever have in your career. And now as a tag team, I gotta be honest, I don't see how we can lose.
Johnny Storm, Jody Fleiss, congratulations! You just assured yourself the first runner-up spot in the 1PW Tag Team Title Tournament. Because you may be the best in Great Britain, but let's be honest, AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, we are superstars on a worldwide scale. So as good as you are, let's be honest, buddies, standing next to us, you just don't measure up. In the end, AJ and I, we're gonna represent 1PW as the greatest tag team champions in history.
And just so you know, it's not a threat. That's not a promise.
That's the gospel, according to the patron saints of phenomenal and God's gift to wrestling.
And this is going to be one of the sternest tests that Fleisch and Storm have ever had. And you've got to ask yourself, Joe, the fact that they're in their home country, the fact that they're flying the flag of the United Kingdom, is that going to inspire them, or is it going to be a pressure on them?
Both in singles and tag teams, certainly apart from each other. But AJ Styles, a three-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
We must have got at least half an hour by now, Joe.
Unbelievable.
There you go. A very exciting match there. Tag team match. The UK's Johnny Storm and Jody Fleisch, absolute icons in the UK, up against the now WWE AJ Styles and, of course, Christopher Daniels of AEW there. And what a run that was they had. Don't forget, guys, the only place to go to get all the action of 1PW is Powered4.tv, and use this code. I say it every time. It's simple. The code man. He's the code breaker over there, amongst other things now. It's SP3. Very simple. 3 digits. Type it in at the beginning on the promotional code. You'll get 50% off your first month. And what better time? Look, you want more wrestling? You're getting in the vibe for WrestleMania. Check out Powered4.tv. And speaking of WrestleMania, I'm sure like you over at True Heel Heat SP3, you are starting to plan, or maybe you already have planned, for WrestleMania. I tell you what, it's an absolute mind-boggling fiasco at the moment. I am still in the planning. However, next week we will have a big announcement for a Powered 4 showcase that will go out on the weekend, featuring some of the big matches on Powered 4 that you're only going to be able to see on the WrestleMania weekend. So stay tuned for that and a lot more. But don't forget, check out over at Powered4.tv and use the code SP3. As simple as that. And you'll also find Mr. SP3 over there on the True Heel Heat, who drop a lot of content all the time. With some amazing characters. Always make me laugh over there, my friend. There's always something that cracks me up that one of you guys thinks of. I think you guys, your humor is on my level, I think.
Thank you. Over
there. I think that's the best way to watch wrestling. Moving on very quickly here, then another shocking bit of news, really. Andrade being released by WWE. Arguably, when I saw this guy coming up the ranks of NXT, I thought, you know what? They're onto something for a change. They've got somebody who I think, has got, obviously they wanted him for the core audience of where he's from. I thought, do you know what? This guy, he looks legit. It doesn't look like they were just pushing him down your throat. He got on the main roster. Like most times, he gets lost in the shuffle. But I thought he was way too good for WWE to just release, because you know what, let's be honest, there's another company out there now. It's not like it was before. You don't just go to the independents and make a name for yourself and come back like a lot of other guys have done, Drew and amongst others. So were you surprised, SP3, about this, and what does that say for his future?
Well, Andrade had an interesting run, to say the least, in WWE. Like, he came in with a lot of hype as La Sombra. He was somebody that I saw briefly in New Japan before he got to the WWE. Yep. And of course, he had his time in CMLL and in Mexico among the independents and promotions like that. So he came in with a lot of hype. He came in at a bad time, though. He came in at a time where Shinsuke Nakamura had just came in, and he was the top star. You had other top stars like Finn Balor, Samoa Joe at that time. So he came in, and although he came in with a lot of hype, he didn't live up to that hype immediately. It took some time, and it took the insertion of Selena Vega with him in NXT, and they just made a magical act, and he got over. They got behind him. He got big wins over Johnny Gargano and, folks like that, and they got the big win against Drew McIntyre at TakeOver War Games to win the NXT championship. And then he had the first 5-star match since 2011 in 2018 against Johnny Gargano at TakeOver Philadelphia. I was there live, and it's among the top 3 greatest matches that I've ever seen live in professional wrestling history. So I know the talent of Andrade. He had great matches against Aleister Black. Then he comes to the main roster. He has great matches against Daniel Bryan and has a great series of matches against Rey Mysterio, has good matches against AJ Styles. Anyone who has talent in the ring, he has a good to great match with. So it just is mind-boggling that you have a Latin star there that is getting over. He's learning the language. He has, even though he doesn't know the language fully, he has a great manager right behind him. And it's just like, they just didn't do enough with them. They just didn't know what they want to do with them. They just didn't know if they could go all the way with the push. Even when he was United States champion, they didn't really focus on him the way he could have gotten over. So I'm happy for him. Honestly, this is the best move for his career. He needs to be out of WWE where he can have some creative freedom, where he can, get the best years of his career out and be on the top of his game somewhere, whether it's a AEW, whether it's a Ring of Honor, whether it's an Impact Wrestling, doesn't really matter. Even if it's a AAA or a CMLL in Mexico, as long as he's happy and as long as he can get the most out of his prime years, I am happy for him. It's just an indictment of WWE system and their creative team that this talent just slipped through their fingers.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't matter, but political and all the rest of it. Obviously, he's with Charlotte. I was more surprised because of that, because I know how WWE operate with these things. Yes, we've seen it, of course, with John Moxley, and of course, Renee was still there, and obviously she ended up, but is this going to put them in a bit more of a difficult position with Charlotte, do you think, going forward with her? Or do you think that she's career driven and she'll do what she needs to do and he'll do what he needs to do?
No, I think he got the release because he's with Charlotte. That's the thing. Like, he asked for his release. It wasn't something like, oh, they're doing cuts and he got released. No, he asked for his release, and usually they would make you wait. They would make you like Pac, who sat at home for 9 months and had to wait till his contract expired. Or FTR, they took off the road before they finally let go. Like, they would have done something like that. They let him go because he's with Charlotte and they want to be on Charlotte's good side. Charlotte Flair is a star for them, like we said before. She's about to do a movie, the Walking Tall remake. So that's another thing that they can add to her resume and promote her as a WWE superstar. So they want to be on Charlotte's good side. And I think that's the reason why Andrade got his release.
Yep. Fair enough. And just on closing, Mr. Will Ospreay winning the New Japan Cup. How significant of a deal is that? I saw the posts and post-match interviews that he was doing. Seemed very happy about it. Is this a sign that Will Ospreay, we know he's a big deal anyway in Japan, but they're almost putting more eggs in his basket here to sort of maybe take it even to another greater level with them?
Well, Will Ospreay, first of all, I just have to say he had one hell of a tournament, and it seems like I'm saying that anytime Will Ospreay is in a tournament in New Japan, it seems like he's just putting on match of the year candidate after match of the year candidate. And this year in the New Japan Cup, he had a match of the year candidate against the first winner of the New Japan Cup from the UK, Zack Sabre Jr. 5-star rated by Dave Meltzer. It was a great match. He busted his nose in the match and re-injured his torn rotator cuff. But his match with Shingo Takagi is among the best matches of this year, period. Like, it was just so much storytelling mixed with great action and great spots and great moments and great character work. It was just everything you would pick main event. That's what they delivered. Ospreay looked like he's a future top star in New Japan, and that he's arrived as a top star, because not only did he deliver a 5-star classic with Shingo Takagi, following the match, he then had a great promo where he turned on his real life girlfriend Bea Priestley, giving her the Oz cutter, dropping her in a controversial angle that really like silenced the crowd and really got a lot of people upset online, because Bea Priestley is the only female character in New Japan, and because that is her real life boyfriend. That's kind of like a domestic violence type of storyline in New Japan, and that's a controversial line for them to toe. He had an even better promo in the post match when he was with the Empire and kind of bragging about being single now. So it felt like he put himself out there. He put himself on a main platform. He won the New Japan Cup, and now he has a big time matchup with Kota Ibushi, the first match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So I know these guys are going to deliver a fantastic match, and I'm looking forward to Sakura Genesis on April 4th. That's when it happens. So Sakura Genesis is going to be great, but go out of your way to see Ospreay versus Shingo, because that was one hell of a match.
Yep, you heard it here. Go and check that out. I've heard only good things about it. Okay, let's just take some quick comments that have come in then. Let's see what we got here. Rambo, regular viewer from YouTube. What have they done to Cruz? This is terrible. I forgot about that, actually. Yes, a bit of a personality change and accent change here altogether. I've seen it done when they first come in, and then all of a sudden they just go natural, but like Kofi Kingston. But this is ridiculous in many ways to me. But I suppose again, you've got to have a short memory, haven't you, SP3?
Well, this is like the reverse Kofi. He went from speaking with his English and then going to a Nigerian accent. He's really from Nigeria, though. So that's the difference here between him and Kofi. I'm all for it. I wanted him to win the Intercontinental Championship because I think he's been performing the character well. Regardless how you feel about it, he's been performing well, and it's something for Apollo Crews, and it's the most interesting he's been in his run on the main roster of the WWE.
Yeah, maybe he just spent some time with past relatives and he's just picked up the accent in a couple of hours. That can happen. I'm sure that'll be their excuse going forward. Mark Lloyd, I like the new Bray look. Oh, he's a fan of it. Do you think they'll have a mask? I don't know. I'm sure they will. I guarantee you they will. They don't make these things without thinking ahead. I'm surprised they didn't click the button like they did last time and just have people going straight over there before he even come out to get the mask. But I'm sure you'll be able to buy it. Will you be one of those people purchasing this mask?
I already have my protective Fiend mask for outdoor, when I go grocery shopping, because I like to scare people.
This is
when
the
I
next
do that.
level.
So that's cool. But this one, not so much. I doubt I will be getting that, Mark Lloyd. But thank you for commenting and watching. And if you want the best reaction to the new Fiend look, go out of your way to watch True Hill Heat's WWE Fastlane Roundtable review with Drunk Guy JJ, because he's the biggest Randy Orton fan, and he wasn't too happy with the return of the crispy Fiend.
I bet. What do we got here? This is from Rambo again. What do you make of Hogan and Titus? Again, I forgot about this as well. Yeah, that's a strange one. I mean, hosts in general, I don't really understand the point of it. I get why they done it with The Rock, because they had sod all to do with him that year and throw him in as the WrestleMania host. But ever since then, it's become like, what does a host even do? Like, they come out, they talk, and then they go. Like, it's not really a thing. I just think it's like another way to get guys on. What was your take on them having Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil? I mean, what a ridiculous combination anyway, but there you go. I hope Titus is okay with this. I hope that, like, years down the line, I'm not going to see him out there saying, no, I was put in a position I didn't want to be in. But what was your take of having this collaboration of hosts for WrestleMania?
It's the new Mega Powers, ladies and gentlemen. Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan, the Mega Powers of WrestleMania hosts. When I think of WrestleMania hosts, the two people I think of is Hulk Hogan and the guy from Tampa Bay. From Tampa Bay. Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. The two Tampa Bay representatives as the co-hosts of WrestleMania. As long as they are together on every scene, I think this is going to be great.
Yeah, unbelievable. I don't know. Last year's hosts were ridiculous for me. They were even worse. They surely can't do as bad a job as those two. But what a crazy thing. Let's just take the last couple here. We've also got one. Where is Brock? He's probably he's trapped within his compound. He ain't looking likely to come back, I wouldn't imagine. Go on, mate.
He said he's hunting. He's hunting something.
Yes, he is hunting. Yes. And last question. Who have we got here? Oh, we've got. Good morning. Thank you very much for that.
Fifth generation Carney. What's going on?
And you couldn't go anywhere without Brett Thomas asking this question. Any news on Logan Paul? Mate, you must have come on to every show of the last week asking all my people. I know nothing about Logan.
Like the last month.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I think that I don't think he's coming anywhere near WWE. Not now, anyway. I wouldn't rule it out, knowing my luck. But yeah, I'm not saying he's going to come back. But on that note, it has been a fantastic show. We've run out of time. We will do a double dose of True or False next week on Wednesday. We'll bring that back. He will not be getting out of that. Especially, I'm sure he's still having nightmares of Nicholas. Don't forget, immediately following this show, you can go and check out the interview I've done with Chicagoland Championship Wrestling's promoter, John Bullard. Very interesting conversation I have with him. It gets a little bit heated in between it as well, between him and I, because we do have a little bit of a disagreement about the Chicago connection. But you can check that out on our YouTube immediately following this show. SP3, you're always the busiest man alive in professional wrestling in terms of your whole media work. What have you got coming up for everybody, and where can we find you?
Well, you can see me live at 8 p.m. BST today, 4 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. on Wrestling Daily with Alex McCarthy. We're going to be talking about the latest wrestling news. We're going to have our weekly debate. Go over to the Wrestling Daily YouTube channel. We're closing in on 10K subscribers. So go over there and subscribe, hit your notifications so you get an alert when we go live today. But I'll also be on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. We got a video coming out today of our review of the New Japan Cup final, where you can hear my rating of Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi in the main event, along with J News of J News Japan. So we go through everything going on in New Japan. So definitely check that out and subscribe to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, because we have a bunch of great content like the WWE Fastlane Roundtable review that is up right now.
Absolutely. So until next Wednesday, folks, have a good week. Enjoy more wrestling. We'll be back next Wednesday. We'll see you then.
Jockeying for position. Neither man wants to give an inch, but something's got to give at some point.
Up and over goes Pac.